All right, so here we go. So in this program, I'm going to be teaching you how to start and grow your coaching, hypnotherapy, NLP, RTT, healing, or even motivational speaker business. And this is essentially going to be laying out the business plan that you can follow to grow your business from scratch, start getting paid clients, start earning a great income, and then scaling your business. So guys, let's look at this business plan. So what I'm also going to give you guys access to, if you go into the resources section of this program, I'm going to give you guys a free copy of my book, which is I Can Make You a Rich Coach, Hypnotherapist, or NLP Practitioner. Now, this is really going to underline a lot of the processes and systems I'm going to be talking about today, but you can get it in book form. I go into a lot more detail in this book as well. So dive into the resource section. You can download this book for free, and it will basically follow on from what I'm teaching you today, plus give you some diagrams, some extra information. We can dive deeper into the processes as well. So here we go. Let's set the foundation. So when most coaches, hypnotherapists, and NLPers start out in business, probably just like you guys, chaos begins. Just like in my business at one point, you'll probably experience a lot of chaos, a lot of complexity, and a lot of confusion when it comes to growing your business. So what seems like a simple business model, which is essentially get paid clients, turns into a chaotic mess of services, products, systems, prices, niches, social media, events, costly mistakes, a lot of guesswork, and a lot of abstract strategies. Now, all of this phenomenon occurs in two types of business owners, but not in the third type. So in order to succeed, I'm going to show you how to become the third type. So I'm going to give you the business plan of the third type of therapist, coach, RTT, NLP, or business owner in general, the third type that would actually succeed in business, to the point where all the mentors, all the gurus, all the people you look up to, even your colleagues that are doing really, really well, even if they don't realize they've become the third type. They're following a business process, a business plan, a plan of attack, whatever you want to call it, to become that third type of therapist and coach. So what I'm going to reveal to you, just like I follow in my business and just like all my students follow as well, I'm going to show you how to become that third type. I'm going to show you what to concentrate on, what you should be doing each day, plus equally, if not more important, what you should be ignoring each day if your goal is to make money, if your goal is to succeed and grow your business from scratch. And I assume it is, because that's why you guys are here to check out this business plan. So let's look at the first type. Now, you might find yourself being the first type, the second type, but like I said, I'm going to show you how to be the third type. So the type one is what I call the do everything at once therapist or a coach. So when therapists first start out in business, they try to attempt everything at once without tracking or without a plan. Now, tracking and a plan is going to come in really, really important later on in this program. So what are they doing? They're using every social media platform at once. They're not tracking anything. They don't know how to use a social media platform. Essentially, what they're thinking is, if I just show up on social media and I create just some random content, or I talk about myself, I talk about my journey, I talk about NLP or hypnosis, this is going to attract clients. They also go ahead and attend every event and networking party. They create 12 different funnels with 12 different ads with 9 different lead pages and squeeze pages. They use Facebook ads, Google ads, Instagram ads, TikTok ads. They use ads across all different platforms, spending a lot of money. They're also giving away pro bono and free sessions. They're hosting events, webinars, and workshops. They create 10 different products in 8 different niches with 16 different prices. They're concentrating on TEDx speaking events, going to podcasts, getting asked to speak on stage for free. They're creating a lot of selfies. It's always talking about them and their social media, always talking about their story. And all this complexity, very quickly, they get overwhelmed. They become exhausted. And all of this effort never materializes into any sort of success, no paid clients. And when they see all of this stuff that they're doing not working, what do they assume? Well, they think, well, I have to keep doing more. So they keep adding more of the same sort of stuff, more and more and more, until even 15 hours a day amongst everything they're doing is still not producing any results. They're spending all of this time every single day pushing all of these buttons, but they're not getting anything in return, which is paid clients or any success in their business. So that's type one. As a matter of fact, I used to be the type 1 therapist. Then I transitioned into the type 2. So let me show you the type 2 therapist. So the type 2 therapist, coach, NLP is really all the same thing. They become what I call the think about it person. So this therapist or coach comes to realize or think how much they have to do in order to succeed. They think they have to do all the social media. They're scared about doing sales. They think they have to do videos and Facebook Lives every day. They've got to do YouTube videos. They've got to do funnels and paid ads. They've got to go to all the networking events. They have to give away free sessions. They've got to do the business cards. They've got to do the flyers. They've got to talk to people and give away sessions for free. They need to pick a niche, or they don't need to pick a niche, or they pick half a niche, or they pick 5 niches. They're pricing their services based on just a hunch or a guess, or they think, well, I've got to make programs in every single niche for 18 different niches with all these different prices because I want to be the type of therapist or a coach that can work with everybody. So that's what they're constantly thinking about. So what happens? Well, they quickly get overwhelmed, confused on where to start because they just don't know, where do I start with all this complexity? And they end up doing nothing. They just sit in front of their laptop every day, frozen in fear. However, their conclusion is to get more certified. They look at all this complexity and think, well, in order for me to understand all of this, before I even start this, what I think I need to do, the assumption I'm going to make, is I need more certifications first. And this is really just a way to push away what they maybe know they have to do, but it's easy to get certified. It's more fun to get certified. So they go and conclude, all these other experts are saying you need to have masters, you need to have clinical, you need to have all of this stuff. They go and do all of that thing, or they spend more of their time doing mindset, abundance block clearing, doing timeline therapy on themselves. They assume that the reason their business is not going to succeed, not that they don't have to do any of this stuff, the reason their business won't succeed is because what's happening in here first. So they do more mindset, more timeline work as they concluded that this is the real problem in their business. What's the point of doing Facebook Lives and social media and creating a niche and creating a business system? What's the point of doing all of that stuff if I know my abundance blocks are going to block all of these things from happening? So this is a bad assumption. So the type 1 and the type 2 therapist, coach, NLP, or RTT, all ends up in the same place. Both of these types of therapists, this way of thinking, this approach where there's no plan of attack, there's no system, all lead to the same place, absolute chaos. The person either doing too much without tracking, or the person not doing anything and are making the assumptions that it's abundance blocks. As long as I clear my abundance blocks, I'll start making money in my business. And both of these places, like I said, lead into absolute chaos. And you might find yourself in these places. So what's the solution? If we're not going to be the type 1 therapist or a coach, we definitely don't want to be the type 2 therapist or a coach. What is the solution here? So you've probably tried the free sessions, the free giveaways, the networking and local events, the BNI events, the free program access for testimonials. You've probably tried the flyers, the business cards, the working with family and friends. You've maybe even paid for cheap ads and cheap leads. You've hired an agency. You may have even done the cleared your abundance blocks, cleared your money blocks, giving away free challenges, opening up free Facebook groups, anything you can think of. And if you've tried those things, you probably find that you're still not getting anything out of them. There's no money or cash flow into your business. Or if you're thinking about doing all of these things, you're frozen so much in fear, you never really attempt these things. So what is the solution to all of this? Well, the first thing I'm going to talk about in regards to becoming the third type and this business plan that I have for you guys, the first thing I want to talk about is focus and time. These two things are a potent mixture to becoming successful in business. But I'm not just going to say, go ahead and get more focused and get more time in your business. How do we apply this strategy? Well, let's go. So the third type is what I call the Asymmetry Expert. So the Asymmetry Expert will cut down complexity, systems, strategies, niches, services, prices, a social media approach, all down to one thing, guys. Leaving this type of therapist or a coach with one niche, one price, one service, one social media strategy, one focus, one expert positioning online, and allowing time to satisfy the system. And I'll talk about this time thing in a moment. So let's have a look at this. Over on the right-hand side, we have the type 1 and the type 2 type of therapist. They have scattered energy and a scattered approach and no real plan of attack. So this circle really represents here complexity, confusion, overwhelm, and a scattered approach. So if you look at all of these arrows here, they're pointing in all different directions. This is that therapist or a coach that is trying 15 different things at once, putting only a small amount of effort into one thing, not tracking it, not knowing if it's going to work, but then starting something new and then another project, and they're changing a niche to another niche and another service, adding another price, another website, another funnel. And they're doing all these little approaches, these little scattered exercises every single day that are not really achieving any sort of outcome. And this is that first and second therapist. And if this is the plan of attack you have, or your business plan for your hypnotherapy or coaching business, you can see why there would be a lot of complexity. There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of overwhelm. And your scattered approach and scattered energy means that you're spending all your time each day, what seems like pushing a lot of buttons, but you're not yielding any sort of results. So what is the opposite of this? Well, guys, I'm going to show you how to create the business plan to become the type 3 therapist, where they have predictability, control, they can measure this control, and they have focus on just one thing. Imagine knowing, guys, and this is the premise I'm going to start you with. Imagine knowing what you needed to do each day to get a client. Just wrap your mind around that. Knowing that if you push button 1, 2, and 3, it's going to produce a paying client. And if you get up in the morning and you push those buttons in the sequential order that we show you how to do this, and you know that works, you never have to wonder how you're going to get a client. You never have to guess how you're going to get a client. And now you're going to get control over your day. You're going to get control over your system. And that means control over the amount of clients you get each month, the amount of money you can earn, but also knowing what else to ignore. Imagine knowing that 90% of the things that you guys are probably doing in your business right now, you could ignore, and you could focus on just the 10% that is actually producing a result. So this is the predictability, the control, the measurable, and also having focus on these things. And I'm going to talk more if you think, well, Scott, what does asymmetry mean? I'm going to talk about more of that in a moment. But this is just by focusing. If you're doing too many things at once, your energy and your focus is scattered in too many places, it's just going to create complexity. And this is the reason why you're not getting paid clients. So how do we become this third type? I've given you the overview. How do we get this predictability and control in your business? So what we're going to do now, we understand to an extent that we're just going to have one of everything. Let me dive deeper into this idea. We're going to look for something called asymmetry inside this new way of thinking by just focusing on one thing. And asymmetry is the art of finding the best money-making actions with the least amount of effort that achieves the biggest outcome while ignoring everything else. So all the gurus, all the experts, this is really their secret sauce to why they are so successful. They know what to do each day to get clients. They know what to do each day to make money. If you look at any millionaire or multi-millionaire, or even billionaire coach or therapist that's in this industry that is making it and crushing it, they understand asymmetry. They not only understand what buttons to push, they also know which sequential order to push those buttons that is going to produce the most amount of income for the least amount of effort. Most amount of income, least amount of effort. Where most people in this place here, where it's just all complexity and chaos, they're doing the most amount of work for the least amount of output, which is going to be income. They're spending all of this energy on all the wrong things, and it's not yielding any sort of results. It's just a waste of focus and energy. So let's dive deeper into this asymmetry idea. So a clear indication of non-asymmetry, and I just want to show you a place where you may be wasting a lot of your time and not allowing time to satisfy the system. Remember, time is a big potent thing in business, is what I see a lot of therapists and coaches doing, which is niche jumping. Every couple of days, every 4 days, every 6 days, even every week, they go from being the anxiety expert, then they go to being the stop smoking expert, they move on to weight loss, and then a couple of days later, they're moving into helping women step into their power. Then they're back to anxiety, then they go to mindset, then they just want to work with everybody, they stop niching. Then they decide that their niche is going to be NLP and RTT and hypnotherapy, and they jump around with all of these niches, but not just the niches, the social media approach, the prices, the client attraction, everything and all the actions that are doing each day. They're continuously jumping around to the next shiny objects like a cat chasing a light on the wall. It's just scattered. It's just trying to grab onto that light. And every time the light moves, the cat moves as well. It's the same thing here. They're focused on just jumping around to all of these complex tasks and not allowing time to teach us if those things that you're doing are working. And this is where the asymmetry comes into it. So here's that third type of therapist, the asymmetry expert. One clear focus, one marketing plan, one service, one price, and one niche. Predictability, controllable, and measurable. Remember, asymmetry is the art of finding the best action with the least amount of effort that achieves the biggest outcome. So what is this asymmetry? Well, I've represented this over the right-hand side with 2 types of triangles. So every day we have the choice of doing a lot of activities, but there's no point just doing all of them. We talked about that being the first type. There's no point just doing all of these activities if 95% of those activities won't produce clients. What's the point? You want to find only the things, and that's the key word here, only the things that are going to produce paying clients. And you want to spend all of your day just pushing those buttons that get clients and ignoring everything else. So let's have a look at this. Let's say, for example, this is your day, okay? You go around and one of your choices of the activities you're going to do is handing out business cards. Well, business cards requires a lot of effort. It requires you to leave your house, hand out business cards, hope that the business cards go in the letterbox to the right people, not niching, growing locally, all the things that are very complex task that requires a lot of energy for you to do that is only going to produce a small outcome. So the asymmetrical process here is flipped. It's on the wrong side. Far too much energy and time to produce maybe only one result. So you hand out 200 business cards, you get one client from it. That's a lot of time wasted. So you can see there's a lot of inputs and a lot of actions, which is many, a lot of effort, and the output or the result is very small. So this is the first and the second type of therapist or a coach. The business plan that we want to approach is this. Okay, we're going to flip this triangle around and now we have the choice of doing something else. So it is an example, instead of handing out business cards and flyers and going to meetup events, which require a lot of energy, what if you were to just produce one YouTube video? And that YouTube video was so niche down to one specific thing, gave the right call to action and the right people saw it. Doesn't take long to do a YouTube video. The output of this was extremely large. One bit of effort, many clients. So YouTube video, now you have outputs and results are going to be large. Least amount of effort, most amount of outputs. Least amount of effort, most amount of results. And this is the way you want to start thinking about your business. This is really a shift in the way that we think before we actually get into the plan itself. We've got to find the activities that are going to cost you the least amount of time and effort, but produce the biggest amount of results, instead of the most amount of effort with the least amount of results. Least time, less effort, more clients. I don't know about you guys, but I'd rather do less work and get more clients. This is the asymmetry approach that you want to have towards the actions you take each day. So how can we divide up these actions? You might be thinking, well, Scott, there's so many things I'm told I have to do. There's so many things I think I have to do to grow my business. Where do I put my focus? What are the best actions in comparison to the worst actions? Well, let me show you guys what this looks like. So this would be my idea. And this is just some of the actions I'm talking about. And these are probably the things that pretty typically I see most therapists and coaches doing, where the asymmetry is pointing in the wrong way. Far too much time and effort for the least amount of results. So these are things like business cards, flyers, free sessions, low prices, no niche, trying to build locally, going to events and websites and meetups, all of these things which take a lot of time and a lot of action and a lot of effort, but produce very little results. And this is what most people are going to do. However, the plan of attack that we are going to take will be over here on the right-hand side. This is what you should be doing. Social media, outreach, value, high prices, niching, focus, one price, asymmetry, tracking everything you do. And I'm going to talk about more of how to do this. But ultimately, again, this is just a thought experiment, the way you should be thinking. You should be finding in your business, guys, as a therapist or a coach, regardless of where you're starting, even if you've been in this industry for a long time, you need to know what to do each day. But to the extent, you also need to know what activities are going to be wasting your time. You have the choice to walk around your local neighborhood, hand out 200 business cards and spend a couple of hours doing that, or create a 10-minute YouTube video, which is highly satisfying your niche with the right call to action and now booking clients. Only some of these actions are going to turn into paid clients, where the majority, maybe 95% of the things that you probably are doing or think you have to be doing are not producing any results, not producing any paid clients. So this is what most people are going to do. This is what I want you guys to do, to focus on this asymmetrical output of your business. Know what you need to do each day, but also know what you need to ignore. So remember, the Asymmetry Expert allows time and momentum and tracking and constant focus on just one thing, leaving all others to wonder, how did they get there? So if you're looking at any therapists or coaches and wondering, how are they making so much money? Even your mentors that you look up to, the millionaires and multimillionaires, the ones you're looking up to, thinking, how are they doing that? It seems like I'm doing the same thing of them. Why are they making the lion's share of money? And why am I failing? Why am I going broke? Well, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. The people that either know how to use asymmetry, or the ones that have stumbled across it and don't realize they're doing it, or don't realize they're applying it, but still making all that money. This is what these people are thinking about. This is what they're doing. These people are not changing their niche every 3 to 4 to 5 days. They're not niche jumping. They're not changing their prices all the time. They're not creating multiple products with multiple services, with multiple funnels and multiple this and multiple that. They're keeping everything down, the complexity down to an absolute minimum. They're not mindlessly scrolling through social media. They're not mindlessly scrolling through YouTube. They're not mindlessly scrolling and getting distracted. Within 6 hours, they've just been sitting in front of a YouTube video and all of a sudden they've done no work for the day. These are not these people. They're also not trying to compete in what I call red ocean niches. They're not doing like the monkey see, monkey do attitude, where all the therapists and coaches look at all the successful therapists and coaches, try and just follow what they're doing and copy. And before long, you have like a whole zombie approach to the therapy and coaching industry, where everyone's trying to compete with each other and no one's making any money. They're also saying no to things that do not matter. They're saying no while they're building their business. They're focused on only one thing, which is their goal, to make money and grow their business. So in order to do this, they're sacrificing time with friends and family. Yes, you probably don't want to hear that, but it's true. They're sacrificing watching Netflix and Foxtel. They're focused each and every day on only the activities, the asymmetrical activities that allow them to get clients. And they're saying no to everything else. They're not wasting time on trivial things, guys. They're not wasting time in Facebook groups arguing about the best type of hypnotherapy or the best type of coaching, or getting advice or opinions from broke therapists and broke coaches in other Facebook groups. Guys, you know who you are. They're not listening to other broke therapists who are just giving their opinion on what they would do in your situation, but they're just as broke as you. They're not sitting in front of their computer, in their office, whatever. They're not sitting in their business just wondering, hoping, and thinking and using mindset and visualizing, wondering how they're going to get clients and how they're going to grow their business. No, these people are taking action, and they're also not assuming that it's abundance blocks, that they need more certifications. You can see the type 1 and type 2 therapist in this analogy here. They're not doing these things. The people that are crushing it and getting the lion's share of the income as therapists and coaches are applying asymmetry. And it might seem so simple, but do not overlook this. So what these people are doing is they lock their doors, they shut their windows, they turn their phone off, and also turn off Netflix and Foxtel to focus on only the things that are proven to get them where they want to go. And once they know what works, they simply repeat it. So you have to become the third type, guys. And I'm going to put in to a process, which will be the business plan itself, the third type approach. Again, this is just a thinking experiment. Hopefully this is making sense right now. If you don't become this person and you don't experience this or know how to apply this to your business, you are forever going to have that scattered approach, doing 1,000,001 different things in 1,000,001 different directions. And over time, you're going to get burnt out, not make any money, and unfortunately have to go get a 9-to-5 job just to survive. So you might be thinking, well, how do I measure this? How do I know what actions are going to be best? Well, in order to get asymmetry, we have to have a place to measure these things. And there's really only one metric we look at in order to measure this process, to measure the progress of the actions you take. It's all well and good just to maybe do just a couple of focused actions, but then we can take it one step further and figure out which action precisely is getting me paid clients. Well, let's look at this off to the left-hand side here. We want to have our asymmetry actions. We want to have the list of things that we know we need to do each day. And we want to be able to weigh and track these actions to either go towards our goal, away from our goal, or sometimes even our actions can regress us worse from our goals, so we can lose more money and more time, which is obviously what we want to avoid. So each action we take has some sort of weight to it. So what do I mean by this? Well, handing out business cards, a lot of energy, a lot of time, and a lot of a scattered approach, because realistically, you don't know who you're handing those business cards to and those flyers to by walking around your local area in your letter and putting them in your letterbox. But you have more control over doing a Facebook Live or a YouTube video or an Instagram post, because it's the least amount of time and can probably produce the most amount of outputs, which is going to be clients. So you want to weigh your actions. Where is your time being spent each day? And this is not a bad exercise to start writing these things down to work out, where am I wasting time? Now, you might think, well, Scott, how do I measure this time wasting? I'll get to that in a moment. But knowing where you're wasting your time, but also where you're putting your time, and how is this time turning into paid clients? Then from there, once you weigh these actions, you want to delete the actions that are just time-wasting activities or are not producing paid clients. Then you want to take the actions that are producing paid clients and you want to improve those actions, make them better, refine them. Try and work out a way that if it took me half an hour to make a Facebook Live, how can I get it down to 15 minutes? I'm spending less time, but still keep the same sort of client getting result. And then you also need to ignore everything else. Now, the idea behind tracking this can get a little bit tricky, and this is where a lot of people fall. You have to find the right data, guys. There's a lot of fancy metrics that people get lost in. Now, the only metric you guys need to be looking at is your monthly income. Okay, so if you're doing all of these activities, let's say you do a Facebook Live and you think the Facebook Live is awesome, you get a lot of likes, you get a lot of shares, you get a lot of comments, you might assume that, yes, this is an asymmetry action. I got an immediate result based on that action. But did it produce a paid client? You do not want to get lost in these fancy metrics of likes, shares, and comments. The only metric you want to look at is, did it produce a paid client? Here's the thing. If you can ignore likes, shares, and comments and followers and stuff like that and go directly to your bank account will tell you everything about the action you just took. So here's an example. Let's say I create an Instagram post that gets 50 likes, 50 shares, 100 comments, and almost goes viral. I'm going to look at my bank account and think, okay, did that actually produce a paid client? I'm going to wait 24 hours, 48 hours. And if it produced no paid client, I don't want to get lost in that metric of likes and shares and say, yes, this is an asymmetrical action. So on the flip side of this, let's say I make a YouTube video. It gets 1 like, 1 comment, and only has, let's say, 50 views on it. But from that one YouTube video, I got 2 paid clients. Let's say I made $5,000 if my price is $2,500 for my service. That now tells me that this thing is an asymmetrical action. So what do you think I'm going to do? Do you think I'm going to do the Instagram post again? Or do you think I'm going to create that YouTube video? Well, if only one of them produced a paid client, I'm going to create that YouTube video over and over and over and over. Now, each day when I wake up, I have one way to get a client. You see my point here, guys? So you do not want to get lost in fancy metrics. Don't get lost in likes and shares and comments and followers. Don't worry about building your social media based on followers and likes. Go directly to your bank account. And I call this your cash collected, your goal, your Polaris star that you're aiming for. You always want to have a goal. So write it on a whiteboard, have it next to your laptop, have it somewhere where you can remind yourself. Unfortunately, our memory as human beings is very small. So sometimes we forget where we're headed. We forget what our goals are. We forget why we're putting ourselves through a lot of this action taking and what can seem like a lot of frustration to build our business. Let's say, for example, I want to earn $100,000 per month. I have to know what actions are going to help me get towards that $100,000, what actions are going to take me away from that $100,000 per month, and also what actions are going to regress me even further away and make me worse off while I'm heading towards that $100,000 per month. And the only way to know what is working is to look at my bank account. My bank account's going to tell me everything about the actions I take. So you want to have your monthly income, write it down. 10 grand a month, 20 grand a month, 50 grand a month, 100 grand a month, $1 million a month, whatever you want to be earning, it's cash collected in your bank account, not likes, shares, and comments. I think I've made that point very clear. Then what I do is once I know what asymmetry action is turning into paid clients, this now becomes my daily routine. So now I can do what seems like 90% less than everybody else, but gather 90% of the cash in my niche. See my point there, guys? So while everyone is that scattered approach and doing 101 different things in the day, struggling to even get one client, I can do one thing each day and collect that 100 clients. Hopefully that makes sense. And this now becomes my asymmetry. Least amount of time and effort, least amount of button pushing, least amount of complexity, but yielding the biggest result. So imagine that, guys. Imagine knowing what you had to do each day. You found your asymmetry actions. Let's say you had a list of 20 and 17 of those things were taking you away or regressing you away from that $100,000 a month. Now you're left with 3 things. And these 3 things were the only things that got you paid clients. We don't have to be an absolute genius to figure out this is going to be a part of my daily routine. I know if I do this YouTube video, create this post and send out this message to 20 people each day as far as like organic outreach or something like this, and these things produce constant paid clients, all my focus is going to be here. I'm going to ignore everybody else. So if you're wondering how coaches and therapists make so much money, well, it seems like they're not doing a lot of work. They are applying asymmetry. And then from there, guys, it's just a matter of repeating each day. Imagine that, just repeating what works each day and ignoring everything else. This is how we measure the application of asymmetry, by looking at your bank account, by looking at, am I moving towards my $100,000 per month? Am I moving away, or have I regressed so far away from that month while doing all of this crazy complex work that it's going to be impossible to see where I'm going? Asymmetry actions into your monthly income. Turn those asymmetry actions that only prove to get clients into your daily routine, and repeat this thing each day. You have to allow your focus to do this, and you've got to allow time to do this. You can't just post one video and then say, well, this didn't work, I'm going to move on to something else. You can't be in a niche for 2 days. Don't get a client and go, well, I'm going to change the niche. No, because you're focusing on the wrong thing. It can take time for these results to start to show. Time and focus are a potent mixture when it comes to growing our business. But we as human beings want to chase the shiny object. We want to change our niche, change our price, change our approach far too often. And we don't allow asymmetry to present itself naturally. We don't track things. We don't weigh our actions. We don't ignore the things that are not working. We don't know how to improve our actions. We don't know how to ignore everything else. And above all, social media, I guess, does this to us. We track all the wrong metrics. So this is how we track the improvements, but also the success of our business. Go straight to your bank account, guys. So now let's look at systems. We've looked at focus and time. Now let's look at systems. So in order to apply asymmetry, which is predictability, repetition, knowing what you need to do each day, to your actions each day, we have to see your business through a lens or a system. It's a sequential order of button pushing that produces a result, like a machine. You push start on a machine, it completes the activity that the machine has been programmed to do, and it produces the desired outcome. A machine doesn't have to think, doesn't have to worry, it doesn't have to change unless the operator sees a better program to put inside the machine, asymmetry, and produces a result that's either a better result or in a quicker fashion. But you can't do this if you just see your business as a random set of steps. Like, do I have to niche? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I need all of these prices, all of these funnels, all of these systems, all of these approaches, all of this work. You see where I'm going here, the type 1 and type 2 therapists. If you're viewing your entire business as this, it's going to be very, very hard to get predictability on this. So seeing your business through a system and treating it as a system solves the issue of unpredictable outcomes from your actions. When we talked about actions before. And essentially your business becomes a matter of hoping and guessing. So if you're waking up each day and thinking, I wonder how I'm going to get a client today, this instantly tells me that you do not have a system inside your business. So how do you know this even further? What you want to do, analyze your business the way it is now. Analyze your income as well. Okay, that's the only measurement we can look at. And if you find things like unpredictable income, where your income goes up and down each week or each month, unpredictable marketing, which means that you throw like spaghetti at the wall and nothing sticks. You don't really know what type of social media to do when and which one's actually producing a result. You have unpredictable client numbers. One month you have 1 client, the next month you have 50. The month after that you have 2. The month after that you have none. Also unreliable metrics. Maybe you're spending far too much money or time in order to acquire a customer. Your business costs are too high. Your effort is too high. You're not yielding any sort of results. Unmaintainable, chaotic days where it just seems like you get excited in the morning, your business, you push all these buttons, 12 hours later, you're absolutely exhausted and you've still got no money in your account. You have chaotic days, you have calm days, your days and your energy is going up and down, up and down. This is unmaintainable, chaotic days. You'll just burn out. Unreliable results, unscalable income, and a business that cannot scale. The only way you can scale it is by doing more. But I mean, when you're doing 15 hours a day and it's still not producing any results, how much more can you actually do? And no control. We need to systemize everything you do. We have to systemize your action, your thinking, and your approach to business, because inside a system, we can track what works. We can improve what works. We can ignore what's not working. See my point here, guys? But if your day is just a scattered approach and you have no idea what to focus your attention on, how to improve the parts that are working, how to track the parts that are or not working, you're going to lead into chaos. So we have to create what I call a client getting machine. So how do we do this? So remember, these two people from before, no systems, no control. And you also start to notice chaos everywhere. Your income will go up and down. You'll have ebbs and flows in your income. Your action, you're taking all of this action, but you're getting no results. You're taking all of this effort, but it's not producing any paid clients. It's the wrong side of the triangle. Your growth is stagnant, or it's up and down. One month you make money, the next month you make none, and it's up and down. It's never consistently growing. That's the word here, consistent. And ultimately you have no control. And a business can get so far out of control and so complex very, very quickly that if you can't handle it, then your business starts controlling you. We do not want to become a slave to our business. We want to have our business working for us. Whether we're sitting in front of our laptop or not, our business must maintain growth over and over, month after month, month after month. Otherwise, you start regressing away from that $50,000 a month, $100,000 a month. So if your goal is to make $100,000 a month, you can't do that if your income's doing this. You can't do this if your action is always in your efforts like this. If your growth goes up, then all the way down, then it stagnates and just doesn't improve over long periods of time. And if you don't have control over every moving part of your business, there is no way you'll be able to reach that monthly income. Even if it is only $10,000 a month, it all comes down to that focus, effort, and also knowing the asymmetrical outputs and inputs of your business. So what does this look like in a systems lens? We're going to make it very, very simple. Let me show you guys the actual business plan. Now, this is the plan I used in my own hypnotherapy business. This is the plan I use in my 7-figure coaching business. This is the plan that we teach thousands of our therapists and coaches that are earning anywhere between $10,000 all the way up to $50,000 per month with complete predictability. This is the system we teach them. So let's go through this step by step. So inside the system, okay, or on the outside of our system, rather, we have our niche. We do have to niche. Now, I'm not going to talk about niching too much here because that's a program all by itself. And as a matter of fact, our 100K coaching program, guys, shows you all of this. So this is just an overview of what you could really learn, but this is just a quick business plan program so you guys can see what is possible. So you need to have a niche because inside that niche lives your system, and it's split into 4 equal parts. Okay, let's start from the left-hand side here. We have the asymmetrical actions we just talked about before. These are the actions you do each and every day to get paid clients. Social media, organic outreach, creating the content, showing value, all the asymmetrical activities we talked about before. We call these inputs. These are the things that you feed into the machine. The next part flows on into what we call our process stage. You need to have a process or a conversion stage of how you take a stranger into a paid client. Now, we recommend using like a strategy call system or a clarity call system or a sales call. You do not want to have your clients, and you will see this why we don't want to do this. You don't want to have your clients booking your sessions and your services based on a website or something like this. You want to have control over the sales call, especially when your prices are starting to get rather high. From there, it flows into the metric that we're tracking, which is, let's say, $2,500 made per client. So we've got inputs, which are the actions, process, which is our conversion, and the output is the result. Lastly, as I've talked about many times, is the feedback, the asymmetry. Is it work? Are the things that I'm doing working? Did it work? Did the asymmetrical action I created and processed, did the process stage of doing the strategy call work? And did I make money? If I get yeses and flows through all of those boxes smoothly, did it work? Yes. So asymmetry would tell me that I can repeat that same action. So let's say, for example, my input was that YouTube video. That one YouTube video turned into 2 booked strategy calls. From those strategy calls, I booked 1 client, so 50% close rate. I made $2,500. I can look at this and think, okay, did that YouTube video produce the desired outcome? Did it produce a strategy call? Yes. Did that strategy call turn into a paid client? Yes. Should I repeat that YouTube video, that asymmetrical input? Yes. So did it work? And this is as simple as a business plan needs to be. So your outputs could also be your monthly income. Let's say I wanted to make $10,000 a month. My price is $2,500. I can look at the asymmetrical actions that I'm taking, the inputs, work out how many actions I need to take, how many strategy calls I would need to do in engrossing in my close rate as well, whether it's 50%, 75%. And this will tell me that if I want to make $10,000 a month, I need 4 clients a month. Well, if I'm closing at 50%, I need to book 8 strategy calls. So what do you think I'm going to do every single week for that entire month even? I'm just going to focus on getting those 8 strategy calls. As long as I close 50%, now I have $10,000 a month. That is the process. That's how simple it can be. However, this is what most people's business models will look like, mine included, before I really understood all of this. So remember our 2 people from before. Therapist number 1, their inputs and actions, everything. No tracking, no plan, no asymmetry understanding. So they're doing Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, events, podcasts, free sessions, pro bono sessions, 5-day challenges, workshops, meetups, business plans. They're doing on their business page, their personal page. They have pages everywhere, Facebook ads and funnels, multiple niches and prices. Sure, they're doing a lot of work, and it's actually better to do all of this work than not do any work. However, what does this lead into? Well, it starts too much chaos, too much work, no asymmetry. But their processes are just as bad. They don't just conduct strategy calls. They also have their prices on their websites, their free sessions, their referrals, the giveaways. There's too many processes going on that there's no control over which one is working. From there, fantastic. They make a $2,500 client. But now the problem is, where did that client come from? What action produced that paid client? What process produced that paid client? So can I track this stuff? Well, did it work? Well, I guess I got paid, but what input? What had asymmetry? What exact process actually converted that client? So can I repeat it? Well, it's very hard to repeat because I don't really know what worked because I just did everything. What didn't work? Well, I don't know because I didn't track it. What can I ignore? I don't know. I didn't track it. Do I add more? Well, if I want more clients, let's say I want to make $10,000 a month instead of $2,500 for the month. How do I do that? Well, I figure I just got to do more of everything because it's more that I did that got the client in the first place. Before long, 10-hour days turn into 12 hours, turn into 15 hours, 24 hours a day, and you're still struggling to even get to $10,000 a month. And it really comes down to time. I'm running out of time, but I can't scale my business. Well, the reason is not the time thing. The scaling problem is this: you don't know what worked. So sure, you're doing a lot of work, but if you can't figure out what worked, it means you're going to have to apply more time, and eventually we run out of time each day. So that's the first type of therapist. Now, remember our second type of therapist. They're just thinking about doing all of this stuff. They're so concerned about having to do all of this stuff that they freeze and don't do anything. Well, that's their inputs and actions, just basically freezing, or they're just doing mindset, or they make the wrong assumptions about why their business isn't successful. They've ignored the fact they've done nothing. They just assume it's, abundance blocks or money blocks, or they're not certified enough. This flows into the process where they're not doing strategy calls because they're too scared to do sales calls. So did they get any clients? No. The only thing they had was hope. I hope I wake up each day and get an email from a client or somebody that wants to work with me. So what's the output? Well, the output is now regressed because I've made the assumption that the reason my business is not making money, the reason why I'm broke and I don't have any clients, ignoring the fact they're not doing anything, they're just telling themselves they are, or it's mindset or something like this. They then go ahead, get out their credit card, spend another $2,500 on another hypno course, another NLP course, another coaching course, learning the same thing they've already learned because they've assumed that's the reason why. And sure, the experts are telling them this as well when it's not the case, that they've assumed that the reason they're not successful is they're not certified enough. Let's go down to the feedback and asymmetry. Well, did it work? No, I'm out of pocket now. I've regressed away from my monthly goal of $100,000 a month. What worked? Well, I didn't do anything, so I don't know what worked. What didn't work? Well, I didn't do anything, so I don't know what didn't work. What can I ignore? I didn't do anything. Do I add more? Well, not really. I can't add another certification because I'm going to be out of pocket $5,000. I don't have time to do anything else because all my time is consumed learning, reading books, becoming a better therapist and coach, doing more mindset work, before long, I'm this very highly trained therapist or a coach with a lot of potential, now driving Uber or working a 9-to-5 job. So the first type and the second type, we know leads to the exact same place. So the third type sees their business as an asymmetry business with predictability. Their actions are asymmetrical, least amount of time and effort, yielding the biggest results. They have complete control over the process. They do strategy calls. They don't have their prices on their websites. They don't send prices via email, personal message. What they're doing is getting people on a call so they can control the questions they ask their clients. They can control the objections. They can control how this process works, because without it, now you're leaving it up to your clients to say yes or no. That's not what you want to do. And they know their outputs and results. They know that if they want to earn $100,000 per month, they know how many asymmetrical actions they need to take. They know how many strategy calls they need to do. They know how to improve the strategy calls so they can do less calls but make more money. And they're constantly looking for asymmetry. They're constantly looking for what works in their business, what doesn't. And the things that do not work or prove over time not to work, they know to ignore those things and delete them. And they know to concentrate only on the things that work, and also at the same time, improve the things that work. So this is the third type, guys. This is the business plan. Asymmetrical system with predictability. So now let's look at the economics, because you might be thinking, well, Scott, hang on. I've heard you talk a couple of times now about $2,500 for prices. How am I going to get that if I can't even charge $100? People are saying no to $50. Well, let me talk about why your economics for your business will either make or break your business. So inside this system, the asymmetry system with the inputs, processes, and outputs, we now have to look at the predictability of your income. Your economics, or the income that you earn, is the lifeblood of your business. Here's the thing. If you want more time in your business to complete more asymmetry actions, you need cash. You can't build a business giving stuff away for free, okay? Because you need cash in order to buy more time in your business to focus on all the right things, which is going to be doing more actions, more of the right asymmetry actions, booking more strategy calls, doing more strategy calls, ultimately booking more paid clients. But if your prices are too low, you're going to run into the issue of time and where you place your actions inside this time variable. So the economics is the lifeblood of your business, but let me explain more. So I want to introduce you to something called the 80-20 rule. So this lives inside your inputs, outputs, and process system as well. Here's what most people will do, and this is the old traditional model. So off to the left-hand side here, therapists and coaches are spending far too long with their clients. They're spending 80% of their time with clients because their prices are so low. And when you've got low-paying clients, you're probably going to attract more clients. But here's the funny thing most people don't understand. You don't grow your business by sitting in front of your clients. You grow and scale your business to get to that $100,000 per month by more asymmetry actions and booking more strategy calls. So building the business makes you more money. The more time you spend sitting in front of your clients is more time away from asymmetry actions. The more asymmetry actions you create and you do, the more money you're going to make. It's just inputs and outputs, okay? Cause and effect, if you want to use a therapeutic term. But here's what happens. 80% of our time is with clients and only 20% of the time with the business. So let's say in January, you have back-to-back $50 clients. You might make a couple of $1,000s for the month. But because you've had no time to create content and to show value and to talk to potential clients and do strategy calls, what's going to happen in February? You're going to have all this income in January. February is going to go down because you don't make more money by sitting in front of clients. You make all the money by doing the inputs, the asymmetry inputs. So if all your time is spent in January seeing clients because your prices are so low, not only are you working too much to make very little money, but now February is going to suffer because you've had no time to create any of the content or do the inputs. So what happens in February? You start freaking out because you've got no clients and now you've got time. So you start creating and doing and completing all these asymmetry inputs. What happens in March? Bang. You start getting back-to-back clients again. But because your prices are so low, what happens in April? Down. So if you're experiencing this, guys, in your business, which is extremely typical, probably 99% of the industry is either experiencing it now or have experienced this, it's because your 80-20 rule is backwards. So if all of our time is spent in front of clients because our prices are so low, and it's the only way we can make money, we only have 20% of our time for social media marketing, innovation, client attraction strategy calls, and sales. What I want you guys to do as part of the asymmetry system is to put your time where it counts. Ultimately, like I said, into the asymmetry inputs. 80% of our time on business, 20% of our time with clients. That's why our prices have to be so high. Not only does it position us as the go-to expert, and I'm going to show you guys how to show the value at higher prices. I've got you, so don't stress out with that. But 80% of our time should be on the social media, the marketing, the innovation, client attraction, strategy calls, and sales, because these are the asymmetry inputs. But if I don't have enough time to do this 80%, my income's going to go up and down, up and down, up and down, and those ebbs and flows are going to be experienced in your business. So what we teach all of our students, what we do in my coaching company as well, and this is what all experts that you look up to, they're making so much money, this is what they're doing. They're putting 80% of their time into the asymmetry inputs and the actions, and only 20% of their time with clients and having those higher prices to adjust for that fluctuation in time. So this is our 80-20 rule for long-term profits. So the DNA of a six-figure economical business. So what I recommend is everybody get in touch with something I call the MOS, with overall transformation price. And this really becomes the DNA of what you're going to sell. So what is MOS? MOS is a term that I coined that I call the minimum optimum service. Least amount of time with clients, make the most money in your business. So how do we do this? How do we have such high prices? Well, what you want to start to think about is pricing per the overall or the transformation, but including the future value of what you're selling. Most people sell the immediate result, like I'll help you quit smoking today. But we know smoking has many health benefits according to that, attached to that, that over time your clients will experience in a very positive way. So we want to start to charge for those things. And I'll talk about what that looks like in a moment. Don't just charge for the immediate result. Next is price on results, not hours, session, times, or how you do things. Because if you're selling a higher price package, you might think, well, I'm going to give away 20 sessions in this package. Far too long with clients, not enough time to do everything else. So your asymmetry is upside down. The bigger the pain, the bigger the price. Choose a real niche, guys. Okay. Lastly, number 4 is control in the process stage. We use a strategy call so you can control the outcome of that process and not rely on marketing, funnel, sales page, hope, universal vibration, all that sort of stuff. What do I mean by this? If you're not doing sales calls or strategy calls, it means that if you were to present, let's say, a $2,500 price on your website, how can you justify that? You can't show enough value. And sure, you might just have to have $50 or $100. So what you want to do if your prices are high, which they should be, it's the only way to get this system to work, you want to be doing a strategy call. So now you can control the process stage. You can control the asymmetry inputs by knowing what to track. You can also control the process, which is the strategy call. And this is how you can get yeses at $2,500, $5,000 per client. The end result, not hours, session, and time. So let's look more about the total value. I think this will be a big eye-opener for you guys. So let's say, for example, I'm working with stop smoking clients and my price is $2,500. And you might think, Scott, that sounds like a lot for quit smoking. Let me show you this. I'm going to show you how it seems actually very reasonable. So I'm helping a client quit smoking. I know that, okay, it's not just the immediate result. The immediate result sounds like a lot of money, because it is. But what if I inform my client that as a result of quitting smoking, their health's going to improve, the organs are going to improve, disease is going to go away. Maybe they become a role model for their kids, so their kids won't smoke. Their confidence increases, so there's some sort of emotional cost. What if with smoking, I save them $3,000 per month? So if I'm saving them $3,000 per month or $36,000 per year, the contrast in price, this is what I'm going to save you compared to what I'm going to charge you, is very, very small. What about all the other associated problems and pains that happen if someone continues to smoke? What if by quitting smoking improves their career? The insomnia gets fixed, their pride and self-worth goes up, better coping mechanisms, improve teeth and gum health. The smell is gone, they feel and seem cleaner. Hair loss goes away, it becomes alleviated. Don't think all of these things would be worth $2,500. I mean, a lot of these things a client would come in to see you for anyway. So the way I look at it is I've got the benefit of quitting smoking, but I've also got all the attached benefits, and I could make a list of 15 or 20 of these things. And my goal is to say, hey, client, I'm going to charge you $2,500 to quit smoking. But as a result, the side benefit of quitting smoking, this will happen, this will happen, this will happen. Make a list of 20 or 30 of these things, and I'm only going to charge you $2,500. Now it seems quite applicable to your client. They see the lifetime value, not just the immediate results. We've got to realize clients don't buy sessions, don't buy hours. They don't buy NLP. They don't buy hypnosis, RTT, or coaching. They buy the end result. And it's your goal to show the lifetime value and all the associated problems that will go away by solving this one problem. All the associated positive things that would happen by quitting smoking, losing weight, overcoming anxiety, finding a better relationship, whatever the niche is. All of these things are associated to the main problem, the initial problem. But it's your goal to show the future value and list these things out and also price for these things. This is how our students are charging so much money. We have students right now charging $2,500 for someone to quit smoking, but their competition is charging $50 and can't get a yes at $50 because they're not showing the right value. So total value is the future value, guys, not just the end result of the initial thing. What's going to happen as a result of quitting smoking or losing weight, overcoming anxiety, whatever the niche is, a result of working with you today. That's how we show value in our price and why our price seems higher, but our value is way higher than everybody else's. This is total value, guys. So with this, we want to have some sort of presentation, okay? So what you want to do is, yes, you want to be doing your strategy calls over Zoom or Skype or something like this, and you want to be showing your client maybe this list. So in our 100K coaching program, we give all of our students a strategy call script. We also give them a presentation that I've designed for them where they take their clients through a presentation, and it educates their clients not only of their price, but what they're going to get and things of that nature. Really cancels out a lot of objections. So you want to be doing some sort of presentation. Don't just send an email or a personal message with your price. You want to be able to break down and show value of everything you do. You want to do the strategy call by diagnosing your client's problem. Get a clear understanding of their whys, what they want, when they want it, who they want it for. Really understand your client's pain. You want to have a pitch at the end of the strategy call. You don't just want to let your client off the phone and say, you get back to me when you're ready. You want to have your pitch. You want to know what to say, what not to say, where to show value, exactly what your clients want. You want to have a completed script or something that you can control, a step-by-step formula of questions to ask. You want to give your price at the end of the strategy call. You also want to be getting paid at the end of your strategy call. You want cash flow into your business immediately. None of this get back to me in a week or I'll send you an invoice, get back to me after your holidays. No, if you want to book in with me today, before I get my diary out, it's $2,500. Give me your credit card details. I'll take that payment now. Then I'll get my diary out and I can book you in for next Wednesday to quit smoking. That sort of process. You also, on the strategy call, want to have a process where you're handling objections. Address all objections on the phone. If you're getting emails back from people asking you questions that are basically objections, it means that you didn't handle them on the call. And it's very easy for now, your client's off the hook. They can say, no, don't do this via email or via personal messenger. You want to handle all of these objections on the call. And like I said, take full payment at the end of the strategy call or the clarity call over the phone. Take the payment, and this gives you their spot in their diet. Clients do not pay on the day. They do not pay the following Wednesday. They don't pay via payment plan. They pay in full to get a spot in your diary. So this is the type of presentation that you want to have for your clients. It is a process. It is part of the system. So remember, asymmetry system with predictability. 80% of our time is in the inputs, the asymmetrical actions, 80% of the time in the process and the conversion, spending more time doing strategy calls, and the outputs is the 20%. It's the money coming in and sitting with your clients for that 20% of time, and then knowing what to do each and every day, guys, to repeat only the actions that work and ignoring everything else. And this is the type of system that will yield your biggest results. This is the business plan. Asymmetrical inputs and actions, processes, knowing what to do each day, getting paid up front, 80% of your time in the right places, 20% of your time in the other places, looking for asymmetry, tracking everything, and focusing only on the things that pull you towards your $100,000 per month and not regress or take you back further, and ignoring all the time-wasting activities that are only going to make you broke. So guys, how do we grow our business? I'm going to recap it right here. Firstly, don't attempt everything at once if you don't know how to track things. Cut complexity, system strategies, niches, service prices, social media approaches, etc. down to one. Only ever add things once you've mastered them. Don't add new things because of some shiny object or some guru says, add this to your system, it'll get you more clients. If it's not proven to work, don't add it. What's funny is sometimes when we go to improve parts of our system, by adding something that's been untested, we make the system worse. and it will actually crumble around us. Next, the biggest thing if you take away from this business plan is finding asymmetry. To avoid overload, overwhelm, and working 15 hours a day, locate asymmetry so you know what actions are producing results and which ones are only wasting time. Cut away or cull all the time wasting activities. Keep only the ones that are putting money in your account. Don't just follow the asymmetry actions if they're just giving you like, shares, and comments. If they're creating like, shares, and comments, but not putting money in your bank account, it is not an asymmetry action. Next is to see asymmetry. The only way to see this and track this, apply a systems lens over your business with the 4 categories: inputs, process, outputs, and feedback, your asymmetry. Economics, your business and you requires money in your business. Use the 80-20 rule to spend 80% of your time building the business, which is the part that makes you money, and your asymmetry activities, and only 20% of your time sitting in front of your clients. Lastly, knowing your business needs help. If you're finding you have unpredictable income, unpredictable marketing, unpredictable client numbers, unreliable metrics, business costs and effort are far too high, uncontrollable chaotic days, unreliable results, unscalable income and business, your business cannot grow, it means you have applied the wrong system. So guys, hopefully this makes sense. This is the business plan that can be used as a hypnotherapist, coach, RTT, or even an NLPer. This is the business you want to employ inside whatever niche you have, whatever you call yourself, whatever business model that you're running. This is how you can grow a business from scratch to be extremely wealthy and be one of those people that you look up to and wonder, how the hell do they do that? This is exactly down to the last detail, exactly how those people are doing this.